warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. What comes to your mind if you heard the word poverty? Maybe people with low incomes, people with low education, people with not suitable homes, people who are desperate to find a better life, and what else? And then, how many of you see poverty as a problem in our country? If you look at it, what is the cause of poverty rampant in our country? And how many of you think that all of us can help provide the best solution to this problem? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, speaking about poverty in Indonesia, today I want to tell you about the causes and efforts to overcome poverty in Indonesia related to what the poverty is, the causes of poverty in Indonesia, and the efforts to overcome poverty in Indonesia. Do you know what the poverty is? If not, I will tell you about the definition of poverty. According to Chris and Connor, poverty is an inability to attain a minimal standard of living that is considered reasonable for society. It is measured in terms of basic consumption needs or the income required for satisfying them. According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, poverty is divided into two, namely absolute poverty and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is a condition when people lack basic necessities for survival, whereas relative poverty is a condition when people's way of life and income is much worse than the general standard of living. Then, what about the cause of poverty in Indonesia? The first cause of poverty in Indonesia is low education. A low level of education results in a person tending to lack sufficient skills, insight, and knowledge for his or her life. As for the work and the business world, education is the capital to compete for future welfare. According to Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology 20 and 21, one of the still low levels of education in Indonesia in 20 and 21 is evidenced by about 75,303 students who decided to quit school. The second cause of poverty in Indonesia is employment constraint. Employment constraints are a condition in which labor growth is less than equal to employment growth. Such conditions will cause work opportunities to decrease significantly. Thus, the working population does not necessarily represent the number of job opportunities available. And the last cause of poverty in Indonesia is limited capital. Limited capital is the disparities between increased need and increased capital capacity to meet needs. In this context, capital is one of the vital factors a prospective entrepreneur must have. Next, we will discuss about the efforts to overcome poverty in Indonesia. The first efforts to overcome poverty in Indonesia, especially low education in Indonesia, is improve quality of education. Improved quality of education can be done in two ways, that is a micro and macro education approach. A micro education approach is an approach education with the study indicators seen in the relationships between the elements of students, educators, and the interaction of part in the education business. Whereas the macro education approach is a broader study of educational elements, namely curriculum development, standardization, integration, quality standards, and competitive capability. The second effort to overcome poverty in Indonesia, especially employment constraint, is given to the opportunity to become an entrepreneur. Giving the opportunity to become an entrepreneur is to give a person the opportunity to do a job by figuring out their habits, to then be given training and mentoring first. And the last effort to overcome poverty in Indonesia, especially limited capital, is raising capital by using a pre-order system. The pre-order is a business capital in which the customer agrees to pay in full or part of the product price. Then, it will be repaid when the item is ready. An entrepreneur who uses the pre-order system must have a good business track record, let others know when the item arrives, and have an item of good quality. Okay, that is the information about poverty in Indonesia and the solution. Based on the information, we know that the problem of poverty is a social welfare problem in Indonesia and is a complex problem. After I inform you all about poverty in Indonesia and the solution, we know that poverty in Indonesia is due to several factors, that is low education, employment constraints, and limited capital. In addition, we also know the best solution to overcome these problems. Overcoming Indonesians' poverty problem is not just a government job. So, I suggest all of you as Indonesian society realize that overcoming this social illness is a common responsibility. That is government and society. I'm Tri Isnaini and see you on the next video. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.